First of all, give the kids a big round of applause. It's okay, kids, I won't allow Campbell Newman to arrest you, okay? Because we're having a protest. I think it's right as a community that we can express our point of view. I want to talk about three things: community, consultation, and the alternatives. Number one, why are you all here this morning? A whole bunch of you only got a 2 or 3 days notice that this was on, and yet we've turned out several hundred people under these beautiful Moreton Bay figs to talk about something which is near and dear to us who live in this part of Brisbane. Communities matter, and schools within the community matters a lot, because the schools are the focus of so much that we do. Yesterday with Helen Abrahams, we were down the road there launching the Be Prepared Coorparoo kit, which is all about being prepared for the next floods whenever they come. The staging point is this school, Brisbane State High School. Schools are part and parcel of who we are in our local communities. They matter, they count, and they're the product of works of generations of people before us. Let's look at these two schools. State High is nearly 100 years old, am I right? Over 100 years old. This State High School carries a huge amount of history. Coorparoo Secondary College, it's a culture and a tradition of education which has been built now over half a century. There have been generations of people before us, and there are generations to come. Institutions like this are not lightly built. Communities band together, they decide to build these facilities in order to, g'day mate, in order to make a difference. In order to make a difference for our school communities. Number two, consultation. If you actually believe in community, if you're going to bring about a change, you consult the community. The hallmark of these decisions on the part of this LNP government is total, wall-to-wall arrogance. They simply put it out through the media. It stinks. It absolutely stinks. Initially, they denied something was going on. Then we had to draw it out of them, like getting blood out of a stone. There was a rumour kicking around that they're about to close Mount Gravatt State High School, and we embarrassed them, I think, into backflipping on that. Then there was the rumour going around about the closures, and you're right, it's not mergers, it's closures of classes here and classes at Coorparoo. And then we had to pull that out of them as well, because they're trying to do it in secret. And just like we had rumours as well, which we then had to get them to confirm that they're in the business of privatising school playing fields over there at Whites Hill College, flogging off the ovals, and at Balmoral High School, flogging off the ovals. This, my friends, in this local community, there's one word for it. It really stinks. It really stinks. And so, I've got some good news for you. On one of these things, recently, only last Friday night, I was out at Whites Hill College, and with reasonably short notice, they pulled together a community meeting of several hundred people, a gathering a little smaller than this. And they brought forward the two local state LNP members, and they said with one voice, we will not cop this, the privatisation of our school playing fields. And it was a wonder to watch these two state LNP members have to backflip publicly on stage and join the community at last to send a message to George Street, which is the community won't cop it. That should give us encouragement about what we're doing here, because the business of community life is to band together when we need to and speak with a common voice to say that we will not cop this. You together, your physical presence today, those of you who have signed petitions, those of you who have circulated flyers, those of you who have been door knocking, you're sending a clear message to this arrogant state government that enough is enough. Both of these secondary schools lie in the constituency which is my privilege to represent in the Parliament of Australia. I have been to these schools so many times over the years that I almost know every classroom. State High, Coorparoo College. In fact, I've got something like 60 or so schools in my electorate altogether. These schools matter. Parents send their kids to these schools for a reason. Picture for a moment the anxiety on the part of parents at Coorparoo or State High, wondering what will happen to my kid in the future. Can they do the subjects which they've selected? Will they be able to do the full range of things that they can currently do? Will Coorparoo Secondary College have a viable long-term future? These are the questions which mums and dads in the real world, in the real community, are asking themselves right now as we speak. And also you've got kids who have started in year 8 at Coorparoo Secondary College who are anxious about whether they're going to be able to finish their high school at Coorparoo Secondary College. You've got parents who are anxious, you've got kids who are anxious. And we're all anxious about the fact that the transport links between the two schools basically don't exist. It's an absolute crazy decision. An absolutely crazy decision. Now on the alternatives, our mate over here, Vincent, I think it's right. You spoke very well, mate. You've got a career in politics. Vincent basically belled the cat on something. He said, there's a huge block of land over here which belongs to State High. I was just talking to Helen Abrahams a minute ago. The block of land between Glenelg Street and Ernst Street is owned by Brisbane State High School. There is real estate to build on, point one. Point two, the previous Bligh government allocated $40 million for the purpose of the future development of State High to take into account the Year 7s who are coming into the secondary school system. Budgetary provision was made, and through Jackie Trad and others, they extracted from Langbrook, the State Education Minister, quite recently in the State Parliament, last week?
4 weeks ago.
4 weeks ago, that the $40 million had been allocated. The question for John Paul Langbrook, the question for Campbell Newman is, what have you done with the community's $40 million bucks? Provision was made, planning was done, and to use the real estate that's been acquired. Because guess what? We're not Robinson Crusoe. I actually get around the country a bit. I actually get around the world a bit. In fact, the Libs always attack me for getting around the world a bit, but leave that to one side. Schools, inner city schools, exist the world over. And do you know what they do? They build with planning and precision and with intensity to make it work on the real estate that they've got available. It can be done. It's done elsewhere. And great schools are preserved. Let me go to Coorparoo Secondary College, a fantastic Queensland secondary college. And people send their kids to Coorparoo for specific purposes. It's a great environment. There are something like about 500 kids at Coorparoo Secondary College, and when I hear them say, quietly out of George Street, that there are not quite enough numbers to make it work in the future, I just remind them what the good people said before about what's happening with urban consolidation here in inner Brisbane. And that includes Coorparoo. The population in the inner city is going through the roof. So what do these mad people decide to do? Flog off the green space, flog off the school playing fields, close classes in 2 of our major local secondary schools. Dumb, dumb and dumber. Let me finish on this. Folks, it really does depend on you. It depends on the community at Whites Hill College to actually change a government decision. You've got to unite, form a united voice between the P&Cs, get in there and make your voice known in George Street. Because their interest is to keep this off the television news. Their interest is not to be seen to be in the arrogant bunch of so-and-sos that they are, in shutting schools around the state, in merging other schools, which is their language for closing classes, and privatising school playing fields across the state. They don't want that on the news. Your job is to put it on the news as a local community and say we are angry about it. And your presence here demonstrates community support for this proposition. So folks, my final word's this. Taking on government can sometimes be a bit scary. But when the decision is so dumb as this one, as it's been at Whites Hill to privatise a school playing field, as it's been at Balmoral High, just over that way, to privatise more school playing fields, which countless generations before us have levelled, helped develop, laid the concrete, bought the Massey Ferguson tractor, helped with the fundraisers to turn these school precincts into what they've become for our generation. There is one course of action: for the community to unite behind your local leaders, your local PNCs, and to send the message to George Street, because where political pain is delivered to them, they will finally listen. Get behind these people. We can stop this thing. With a united voice, we can actually make them change their mind.